Rene Marie Stroke of Luck TV and podcast. So we're so happy to be here once again. We had it last show was extraordinary. It just was, you know, the way in my world that God fosters things and it just comes together is just amazing for me. Katanya, Ginny and Ginny, like I said in the other show, Judy Marlowe retired. She did an extraordinary job, and I can't thank her enough for everything she did. Ginny has taken on the role of booking agent and for the Rene Marie Stroke of Luck, Rene Marie Language of Love Foundation and Stroke of Luck TV show. And Ginny, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and Judy can attest to that, but it's a lot of work to coordinate and get everything's done. And thank you, Ginny, for picking it
My
up.
pleasure all the time. I can't do enough to help you, Renee.
Thank you. Just the way that you just like, okay, let's go. It's like, here we go. That's my motto. Here we go. I don't know if everybody sees it. And Mark, oh,
Do you need another spreadsheet? That's
yes, we do need another spreadsheet. But we have so many stuff happening that it's like there's enough. And I love the fact that I just like, oh yeah, Ginny, add this in. I text her like I don't have time to even breathe,
Yeah.
especially because of our unconditional love concert, which it's a new show. I have to talk about my unconditional love concert. It's on April 26, 2025 at the Yogi Berra Museum and Learning Center. I just went the other day. What an extraordinary welcoming feeling and camaraderie, and the way that they welcomed us. And I'm drawing a blank on the woman's name that I met with, because that's one of my stroke things to not remember, but you can always check back. And she was so welcoming, and she made us feel so wonderful, and she's such an inspiration. And I'll look up her name in a few minutes, but please join us. It's going to be an extraordinary event. Amazing, just to bring hope to those that have suffered strokes, and to bring joy to people, and to bring love through music, which is what my world is about. That's how I speak, through music. And I'll never forget, there was Ed Augustus, I think that his name, a long time ago. I met him at my children's St. Anthony's when they went there as young children. I remember this vividly. And he was doing a motivational speaking for the parents at night. And I appreciated. And one of the reasons that I loved his philosophy was he had a business card, and on the back of the business card were important phone numbers. Call the Oprah show. Here, have the phone number. Call, I connect with I Love Luke. But he had important phone numbers, and I just, oh my God, he's incredible. So I went and I spoke to him, and one of the things that he said to me is, Renee, you have the gift of music. Most speakers, most MCs, most masters of ceremonies, most keynote speakers, they usually only do it through word, and you have the possibility of tying in the music. And this is what this concert's about. It's bringing hope to people, lifting people. And when we listen to the radio, we listen to things, it brings us up. And we're going to leave people at that event so high that you're going to be flying when you leave. So that's my goal and objective. And I know I could do it, because I've always have done it, even without sharing with people. I always leave people in a wonderful, happy mode when they leave that show. And that's my goal, that this concert. So please join us. Please, please, please click below. I'll put it in the link. And also Mark McEwen will be there. Maddie from the last show will be there. Katanya and Barry will be there from the last show. It's going to be really a family affair. And thank you to John and Diane, some of my board members, for the extraordinary work they're doing in making this happen. I didn't say that on the first show, but I had a really challenging night last night. We had some family emergency going on, so I wasn't my full thought process self. So pardon me if I'm not 100% with it. I said thank you to Ginny for everything she does. Thank you to Ralph for just really partnering with our organization and really being who he is. He's an advocate for strokes, suffered strokes 9 years ago, I think, 10 years this coming October. 10 years ago this coming October. And he, whenever I share anything, it's like he lives next door. He lives in you live in the West.
Oregon.
Yeah, but it's like we're connected, and whenever he needs anything, he calls me, I call him, and whatever. So we're blessed to have you in our lives, Ralph, and we're
Thank you. Ditto.
You. And then we're welcoming our dear Jeff Bennett, who he came on the show with Robin. What was Robin's last name, Ginny? Do you know her?
Bella Spirito.
Yes, she was an artist. She did extraordinary work, which we hope to have her back to find out how that went for her. But Jeff had really, I was like, we were connected to Robin and to Jeff, because the stories and their passion and, for just accomplishing things. And when we reached out to Jeff and we had him on our show, we thought that he was going to like talk about where he was from the past, like, you know, what advances he made. And he called me yesterday and I called him back. We chatted on the phone last night and he says, nope, that's all out the window. I got a new story to tell. So we can't wait to hear his story because it's so motivational. So welcome, Jeff. Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm pleased to meet everyone here. And nothing's out the window. It's just they was put on hold for a little while. So a few health issues, but my focus now is just to tell everyone, hey, you have the stroke. It's not the end. It is you need to continue, and everyone says that um, you plateau at some point, and I found very clearly that that's not something that is accurate. You
Yeah.
have to just keep pushing. Very easy to be told you're done, and you kind of give up, and because you think you've plateaued, and you just have to keep going, and we get better and better, and I am living proof of that. So my hope for the future, what I wanted to be able to talk about today, was a website I'm launching. But until I'm ready for that, I'm just here to share my stories and success, capable couple setbacks, but mostly success, and keep on trucking.
You're successful, Jeff, because you're here, right? You're here.
Yes, exactly.
So let's go back a little bit, okay? Because the last time we met, you had all these goals and objectives. So what was the turning point for you that you thought, like, you know, life got in the way? Because life gets in the way. Like I said initially on the show, you know, life got in the way last night. I wasn't even sure I'd be here today. I was going to pass the batons on to Ralph and to Ginny. I actually would have had to call Ralph and said, okay, Ralph or Ginny, and here's the password for the channel and just make it roll. You know, like I'll be like Kelly Clarkson, right? That she had guest hosts on her show. You guys give me my guest host. What can I tell you? You know, but tell us a little bit about, you know, what that first challenge was in your life.
The first challenge was the stroke, which
Yeah.
was caused by leukemia. So it's not a normal stroke. I had bleeding everywhere as I could see, no idea what it was, trouble getting to a doctor, and finally got to a urgent care clinic that says, hey, you don't belong in urgent care, you belong in the hospital now. I went to the hospital, turns out I have leukemia, and 2 days later, that caused bleeding in the brain and a stroke. And they told me, goodbye, you're going to die. Told my mother, you're going to. They didn't tell me because I was unconscious, but so, but I knew I had to get better, and I had love, I had caring, and I had belief that, listen, everything could be worse. I'm not in a refugee camp, not in a war-torn area, not let's not get too political there. But I have to get better, and I've done fantastic. I've been hiking. I am kayaking and rowing.
Wow.
I am doing amazing things, but I had setbacks. So I had physical therapy, tried to move my legs around a little bit more, and I got a hernia from that.
Oh my
Then,
gosh.
then I had a concussion from going to the doctor for that. And then I had COVID, and I had acid reflux. But the bottom line is you can get through anything if you keep working at it. And I'm no longer coughing. I'm not. I got my hernia taken care of. I am going to the city later today for a show. I've got a fiance. Uh,
Whoa.
I've got a wonderful life, and it's all because of the people around me, and because I do work at it. No one works at it as much as we all should,
Yeah. Yeah.
but when you are told this is it, you can rest on your laurels because you're not getting any better. Just everyone, please don't believe them. Keep working on it, and and do little things like a diary to see where was I last year, because you don't remember that.
Yeah.
So your friends tell you whether I'm getting better or not. Find things you can do to measure yourself and give yourself encouragement that I'm getting better. And it's fantastic.
Jeff, I have a question for you. Ralph, do you want to go first?
Go ahead, go ahead.
I just have something because, like I said in promo and I really believe this, that God always has a plan for a show. And you said something that captured my heart, because unconditional love, right? Love helped you to recover. Tap into that a little bit, because that's what my concert's about, right? I couldn't be here if I didn't have the love and support and just to get where I am today. I couldn't have done it. And love doesn't always come from the people you expect it to come from. It comes from those that understand and have empathy, and just they're placed as angels in your life. So talk to us a bit about that support system that helped you to recover from everything you've dealt with in your life. And congratulations on your fiance.
Uh, she's fantastic. So love comes from a number of your friends around you. My mother's 91. Yay, Mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
She is the part of her family, a social worker herself.
Wow.
She's the caretaker of a younger brother who is paraplegic and has his own terrible share of problems.
Oh my
And
gosh.
part of the love is knowing that I have to be there for them, and they are there for me.
Yeah.
I've got another brother. I've got wonderful friends. And again, my fiance, Lisa, who is just amazing. And to be having her back in my life. So
I'm jealous because I just found out. No, I just found out another dear friend of ours, Catherine, right?
Oh, yeah.
Her husband passed during COVID, I think it was, right?
He had blood cancer. He was sick. I mean, he had all kinds of issues and immune issues and so on. And then he got COVID. He was doing fine. And so I think they knew his time was probably limited, but it was very, very difficult at the end. But she had several strokes herself.
Yes.
Oh.
And that now she met a gentleman, and he had male breast cancer.
Oh my
So
God.
he is a cancer survivor also. So that this is what they are advocating for. Fell in love and they're getting married. She's got her gown and she's an absolute
I need to find somebody.
gorgeous. She's a stunning woman. She's very talented. I met her through one of the senior pageants, and I'm just so happy for her. She's such a
Yeah.
delight.
She is. So maybe now that she's a little bit balanced, we can invite her back onto the show with
Yes, I was just thinking
fiance.
that. Absolutely.
With her fiance, and we can get Jeff. What's your fiance's name?
Lisa, her dog.
And Lisa can be on, and we can all talk about that love. Right, Ralph? Come on, Ginny.
No, I'm not doing that conversation.
I heard her talking about love. He just passed by, Ginny's
Yeah.
husband. So,
Anyway,
and
I'm
Ralph,
curious, Jeff.
wait, Ralph, I don't want to disrespect you. When did your wife pass away?
Mine?
Yes, your wife.
2019,
2019.
pulmonary heart failure caused by COVID.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I just want to make sure that we honored Ralph and the love in his life. So in his
That's
family,
all right. Thank you.
his world too, because I see it on Facebook. Go ahead, Ralph, you can ask the question.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm always curious on some of the people that I've interviewed are such fighters. What is it in your background that caused you to have that mindset to fight so hard?
Is
Were you an athlete, for example, or,
yeah,
in
no,
business for yourself, any of those?
yes, I was in business myself, um, and several businesses. I was very lucky. I don't know what makes a mindset work. There are people who look at the glass, it's always half empty, even though they have millions in the bank and a family and this and that, everything's bad. And there are people who have, uh, are everything goes wrong and they can still rise to it. And the biggest thing we should be figuring out is how to help people to have hope, have believe in themselves, believe that they can do, and this is where's motivation come from, and how do you get it? Um, so, um, my brother Robert, I hope if he's hearing me, he understands I'm talking, but he private person. He had couldn't talk for 10 months. We didn't know why.
Mhm.
And no neurologist, nothing. They couldn't figure it out. You can say, I can't talk, and so my life is over. Or you can say, hey, I can find ways to communicate. He's a writer. He's written in the New York Times. He's got 2 books published. How do you rise and say, what can I do? My 91-year-old mom is fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. She's always had a very positive outlook. I think that she has dealt with so many problems in her life, and yet she just my father always said, "This is someone you can look to. We are kind of on level ground. This is someone who knows how to appreciate life and get the most that can be gotten, and deal with the most with difficult situation, and just say, I have to deal with it. I'm not surrendering. So." My family was wonderful, lucky group of friends, and we live in whether your politics are this way or that way. Overall, we have lived in a wonderful country and a wonderful world. Okay, so look at what we've got and try.
Sorry, Jeff, what was coming to me, because if I don't say it, I'll forget, is that, sometimes people wait to get into that situation where they need people around them and stuff. And really, we should be fostering those relationships prior to anything happening to us, right?
Always.
Yes, we should be, being kind to everybody, not after we get sick. We should always, have empathy for everybody. We should always try to help people, move it forward, give in advance. I was listening to the song Humble and Kind yesterday, because that's one of my favorite songs, and in that song, he talks about, pay it forward. Things that you're not where you're only where you are because people did things for you. Pay it forward in your life and look back and make sure you're paying it forward. And I just think that, we all need to take a step back and love one another, no matter what your political, no matter what, your world is, no matter what color you are, no matter what size you are, no matter from what country you are. We're all people. We need to love one another and just respect one another. We don't need to agree on anything. So I really, from my heart, bottom of my heart, I believe that, so Ralph, did you have a question? I saw you.
Yeah, well, we're told the plateaus and all that when we first have our strokes. and I agree with you that it doesn't stop. What was the turning point for you that, uh, it clicked, that said, I can be better than what they're telling me? What caused that turning point?
For me, it was after after 2 months. I'm still in the hospital, and it took me 2 months to be able to do this.
Wow.
And
Okay.
about that time, I was able to start talking again. Um, but I could do this, and I said, if I can do this, I can do whatever I need to do. Now, look at me. So I have hit a ping pong ball and even won a point or two. I miss most of the time, totally. Don't hit the ball at all.
As
But
long as as long as you tried.
as long as
Yeah.
everyone tries and never give up.
Yeah. I think that what's the saying? The only game you'll lose is the one you're not in. Something like that,
Good. Yeah.
because it doesn't matter what the outcome is as long as you did your best. One of my softball educations, so it's incredible. So, we were talking on the prior show, Jeff, and I'd love for you to join us on the next show because we're going to continue the conversation because, when we start to talk, there's so much to talk about, that sometimes stroke survivors can't comprehend what they have to do, right? Our brains are scrambled that we don't understand that we need to be positive, and that's where the support around you comes in to always bring that positive inspiration, not in a demanding way that you got to do this, you got to do that, just to, you did your movie for, wow, great job, that's so good, can you move the other foot? Like, that's so inspirational that you need to lift people up, and you're doing such a great job in inspiring people with that one little segment, right? It was just when you moved your finger
Yes.
that's just incredible. It's
It was a
incredible.
quarter of an inch, just that much, and I didn't think I could ever do that again. So
That's incredible. Wow.
That's recognizing those little small victories, isn't it?
yes, it's so much easier to just say what you can't do, and say, "Oh, this is all I can move my finger this much," and that's so much easier to do, and to say, "Yeah." So how do you do that? I'm going to give a little plug. I hope by this point to do more. I am trying to build a website for stroke survivors, um, mostly focused on technology that can help, but other issues like motivation, it's not available yet, but keep watching for www.enablingstrokesurvivors.org. And that's where I want everyone here and anyone listening to write to me. I will include people's stories, and I will include their stories of success, and I will help, we'll talk about things, what technologies have helped one. Different slings as much as that, or different books, or much
Right.
more advanced things.
Now, isn't your website up and running though already?
It's not up and running yet.
Not up and running? Sorry, I thought it was.
You may
Let
have
us know.
seen.
Send us an email. So let us know, and then we can put it up on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us, because I remember when we were on the last show, we talked about some of those technical things that are available for us that can help us.
I do not have it, one of them right here. I thought I had something I could pick up right here and now. There's a device, I love it, called a neural ball,
Yes.
NEUROBALL, and it looks like a little round ball. You put your hand on it and in it, and it can sense when you lift your arm. It can sense when you move your hand this way or that. Grab the ball and tighten your fist, and you use it like a mouse or a trackball with a computer program that they supply you with many games. So you're going through a maze, or you are playing music, or you are shooting space invaders. And so you are trying to exercise your hand. And they include a, a therapist online with you at once every other week or something like that. But you can use it anytime you want on your own. And it's physical therapy gamified. Wonderful.
Very good.
There's a device, um, what's it called again right this moment, that gives you little electric shocks to, we love that, right?
Right.
To help you lift your foot off the ground or not trip. So I found it so much better than the orthotics you put in your shoe that never fit right and are so uncomfortable and God, or something that similar to the orthotics um, goes around your ankle and attaches to your uh, the eyelets in your shoelaces and lifts your foot externally, so you don't have to put anything inside the foot.
Right.
So that's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So there anything as simple as, of course, they have just spoons you can bend to the right shape. So when you're trying to use a spoon, you don't have to use the normal function because you can't. So there's that. Um,
And I think there's because I always wanted to do clothes, design clothes that would make it, but I think there is somebody out there doing something like that. I don't know their name specifically, but we should tap into that and find out what it is. Ginny's writing it down. Ginny's on top of it already. Don't even need to tell her. Yeah. But I
There's a
think,
bunch out there right now, and I think
yeah,
it's even the field is growing a lot. I mean, there's IPSA hand, which is
right?
the thing that you put on your head and it moves by thought, which is amazing to me. There's Vivistem that's doing the vagus nerve
Nerve.
stimulator.
I think we're,
That's an incredible product out there. I mean, it's amazing to me that people are addressing certain needs with technology.
yes,
The
yeah,
technology and AI and manufacturing of electronic products for us, for stroke survivors, AVM, TBIs, all of that is just growing so fantastically. There's skeletal bodies, body skeletons that you step into it like you're stepping into RoboCop
Right.
that people walk with. And so it's amazing what's happening out there.
yeah.
Unfortunately, no one, the doctors don't talk about it. The physical therapists don't talk about it until you say, hey, would this help? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. But
yeah,
they won't come out and offer that. And unfortunately,
Well,
most,
haven't you found, Jeff, that I mean, haven't you found that you've got to advocate for that? Because most therapists I found in the early years anyway were checklist.
yes,
Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we have to do. This is how we're going to measure it. And then at some point, you got to say to that therapist, wait a minute, this is, I want to do this. Like
right.
one of my therapists, I was a contractor before my stroke. And she said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to go back to contracting, like climbing a ladder or something. She brought a ladder into physical therapy.
Wow.
So I
yeah.
mean,
All
we have to fight for ourselves and
Yeah,
say, this is what I want.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and if you don't have a therapist that will listen to what you want, uh, you know,
Find one.
I, yeah, I found out 6 years later I can fire my therapist. You know, I can fire my doctors. I can fire my OT, occupational therapy, whoever, and find the best people for me. I mean, I know some survivors that actually go and visit physical therapy locations before they decide on one.
Wow.
You know, they'll do research on them and actually go tour the facility. You know, those are kind of things that nobody told us in the beginning.
Right?
You know, we
Yeah.
have to do that for ourselves.
But the
My
thing
kids
that
are,
we spoke about in the prior show, I think it was forming that team around you, right?
Yeah.
So that, so that you're ready for when situations happen. Because Jeff, you weren't in that place that you could, if someone came and told you you could do this, you weren't in that place to make those decisions. So if you form a team around you that already knows what you want when you're, and knows you and knows your passion, like, I'm just saying for an example, if Ralph wasn't unable in a position to tell him that they wanted a ladder because he wanted to go back to construction, his team around him could have said, no, he did this in his life. And this is how you can better motivate him to do that. Because I think that when we're in our lives, we're setting ourselves up for life, right? So we've experienced things. So when after my stroke, I went right back to playing softball because softball was my passion in my life. I was like focused and dedicated and I was crazy, So when they tapped into that, I was like, oh, I could do this. I could do that. Yes, the ball did go crooked sometime, but I would say 95% of the time it went to that first base from third base. And I still played third base as a reaction because that's my brain knew that. My brain focused like that. My brain knew that world. So if they used what your experiences are in your life, they'll have better ways to activate your memory and to get you going again. I do want to
Yeah,
say,
you keep saying about a team. You know, I think most people don't realize that once you have that team developed, you're the captain. You know, you're the one that has to lead that team. It's not the doctor, it's not the therapist, it's you that needs to do that.
you and your
Uh,
advocates, you and
you
your
know,
advocates.
we early on cognitively, we don't know the questions to ask. They don't, that we're not told a whole lot of stuff. And I think, we miss out not asking the dumb questions. The only dumb question is the one you don't ask.
Yes.
You know,
It's so
yeah,
funny because I just want to share something. Barry, who was on the last show, he's following us on this, watching the show, and he's commenting on it. Do you see it, Ralph?
no, I don't.
He's saying 100 shots missed are the ones you didn't take.
All
That's what
right.
he's 100 shots missed are the ones you didn't take. Thanks, Barry. It's true. It
Renee?
ties into, go ahead.
I'd like to throw in here that you said about people who will take the next step. There are also people who don't challenge themselves, or they set themselves up for failure instead of success. They have a toxic outlook on life. It's the kind of woman who always dates people that she knows are bad for her, or you interview for jobs you're not qualified for, and then say I can't get a job. And I think those are the people you have to get out of your life, because they will put a lot of real negative, down depression on you just listening to them talk.
Yeah.
So, finding the right people, whether it's your family or it's friends, that you have now, or friends that you will make from a therapy group, who all are learning to be positive and learning to set up the success. So I think that's very important, to find the right people.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Exactly.
And, and that just that I keep going back to, set yourself the same way you are in business, the same way you are, in school, you got to do your homework, you have to prepare, you have to get ready when you're playing on a softball team. We have practice. We go and we throw the ball before every practice. You have to set yourself up in life. It's so important. I think it's really important for us to educate the young children, the kids that are in school, that about all this stuff. Bring them our hope. That's one of my goals on my retirement, that I when I do retire, because I don't have time right now. I'd love to go to schools and bring joy to the kids and motivate them, and tell them it's not you're not going to have a stroke just because you're talking about it. You can prevent bad things from happening when you talk about it, So I think it's really important. Jeff, I think what we will do for you is, whatever we get a new, something that can be helped, we'll send it to you. So
Yes,
you can be the
yes.
main base for us, and if anybody asks, we don't all want to do the same thing. Let's just all work together to the common goal. And we can put, you can come up with a mission statement for your website, and
Yes.
we can have that on our websites, and click here to go to the information. It's all important for us to be working together, not against each other. Good, Ralph, you have another question? Did you?
No, I
I
was
saw
just
you
gonna
ask. I
say,
saw you.
one of the things that I had to learn too was research. I mean, you have to sit down and do some research. I mean, Jeff, you've obviously done that with the contraptions you use, the DMEs, durable medical equipment stuff. I see a treadmill in the back there with the arm
Yes.
thing. I mean, you have to do some research and look at those things that are available. Some of them are woohoo, those
Moonshots.
weird hippie things, but some of them work for some people. Some of them won't work for me. They might work for you. It's something. I said it before in the first show. It's intention. You have to have that intention to get yourself better. You have to, and my word is fight. I think it's better to have tried and failed than to have failed to try.
Yes.
So, you got to get out there and put yourself out there to get better. And it can become remarkable. Like I said, many people know that after 6.5 years, I no longer use a cane. I no longer use walkers, anything like that. I work a full-time job, so I mean, it can get better even after 7 years.
Experiments is also good. You mentioned that. I think everyone, when they're out of the hospital and whatever, there's a tremendous amount of research, and a lot of those people need participants. So I went out and found places where I could participate in some experiment. Okay, one thing was to look at a screen, try to move your arm as the screen says, do this, but they had a robotic thing that when you couldn't move your arm, it assists you automatically. And they were and they attached a device to my ear to send signals to a nerve at the same time, and they were trying to see if that helps. Well, everyone needs to participate in order for this research to keep going on. And
Great point.
also, don't, even in the hospital, when you're there early, they do so little therapy in the hospital. Time is of the essence. They don't have time to do everything. I was able to ask them, okay, so I get physical therapy 2 hours a day. I'm in the hospital 24 hours a day. Why can't I use something to help me the rest of the time? And
Because you're just laying there.
right.
It's like, and I never really connected that. I never really thought about that, right? Because you're just laying there, and it's like a balance. Like if you're laying there for 22 hours and you're working out for 2 hours, the laying there is going to take more effect
Yes.
on you than the balance, the structure, right? I mean, I never thought about that.
What I
Yeah.
did is I asked the doctors and nurses, is it okay if I buy myself a under the desk type, very small, like pedal bike?
Wow.
And I couldn't I had to find a way to attach my legs to the pedal bike because I couldn't keep my foot on the pedals. But for like $35, I bought this thing that sits on the floor. I got it once I was able to get into the wheelchair. I moved the wheelchair in the right place, and I was pedaling hours a day, um, on my own. And the hospital said I've never seen anyone ever do that or even ask about it. But there
Wow.
was no one to stop you once you do it. And so, you
And
know,
you know what? Even if it takes you 5 hours to figure that out, you have
yes,
5 hours to
Mhm.
and the other thing is it will refocus yourself, right? You're not
yes,
laying there thinking about woe is me and why me, and it'll refocus like let me see what I can do. Let me try to. That's incredible, Jeff. I never thought about that. Ralph, did you ever hear that? Jenny, did you?
Yeah, I have one of those things under the desk at this
Ah,
my
Actually,
office.
there's a number of infomercials now, and some of them are actually motorized, and I'm going like, that, what's that doing for you? So, but they're several $100s. But um, Jeff, now that they saw you innovate to get this little pedal machine, has had the therapists in that hospital uh, utilize that going forward with other patients?
no, of
No,
course
of
not.
course not, because they
No,
didn't
And
think of it.
I
well,
have,
there's
that yeah,
protocol and checklist.
right, but there's a whole thing with that, right? Because it hasn't been tested for liability in the
Yeah, oh,
hospital,
you're right.
and if
Yeah,
somebody's
yeah,
not there to help them, they can get if they bring it
yeah,
in. There's a whole
you're
bit
right.
of reasons why.
Have a
But,
litigious society, and everybody will sue somebody for something.
right, but that doesn't mean that Jeff can't get the word out about it,
Mhm.
and
right,
family members can say, I'm going to bring it in. It's my, you can't stop me if I want to do it. If I'm the, what's they called for the person in charge of somebody, if the person that's
Advocate.
playing there, the advocate, if the person that's there can't approve it, then the advocate can approve it for them, right? Or the person that's responsible for them. And there's nothing they could do about it. So that's very interesting. So
Mhm.
Ginny, we have to find out the legalities behind that, right?
Right.
We have
Yep.
to find out if the legalities as far as, maybe ask Dr.
Libman.
Littman, is if someone wanted to bring something in to help their family member, their loved ones, is there any protocol or anything that says that they can't? Like just before we go announcing it and everybody's going out buying it for,
Yeah.
for their family members and they're like, what's going what is this? Well, I was watching Rene Marie's show for the
I'll
longest.
contact him about that, but maybe the next time he does a video for us,
Yeah.
that can be one of the topics that we
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting thing,
Yeah.
and maybe ask him how, Jeff had a motorbike, or a pedal. Is there anything else that anybody else, did he ever experience anything else, which would be
Yeah.
very interesting,
Yeah.
because
Well,
you got 24 hours a day.
and at least for myself, what I did was, you know, it's like Jeff said, what are you doing the other 22 hours? I
Yeah.
asked my physical therapist for the bands. So they
Mhm.
gave me bands to take home. I have one set up on my stair rail that I can
Mhm.
sit down and do my rows. I have bars set up on my front door that I can do my lats and those kind of
Mhm.
things. There's all kinds of things out there. And I think in my case, I was a I was an athlete, I was a weightlifter, all of that. So I got myself a set of dumbbells. I got myself some rubber bands, those kind of things. I've got somebody just, believe it or not, gave me what do you call it? Um, Exercise bench, those
Oh, yeah,
big,
yeah. Uh-huh.
those real
Oh,
big,
with the weights? With the weights?
Nova, what are they? Nova? Oh my God, I drew a blank. Yeah, it's the one
But
with
it's
the
got all the
bands.
gizmos that you can do all the different functions with it.
Yep, you
Yeah,
can do all the
I know
different
what you
things.
mean.
Somebody gave it to me for Christmas.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
mean, but see that my point is that I know I did that stuff before and I knew it worked for me. So now I just have to adjust the tools I use to do it again. That
Mhm.
makes me better. That makes my strength better. You know, it's like people have heard. I can run an 18-minute mile in a water treadmill now. I never thought I'd run again. You know, those little things that I did before that I retried may not look pretty, but they get better and better every day. Jeff, you're doing the same thing. I mean, that little thumb thing,
Yeah.
that just those little teeny victories are big deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope that family members and loved ones and advocates and, and whoever is listening as well, because, they need to be the inspiration and the motivation to around their family, loved ones that are in the hospital. I think I said this. I always say this. I don't know who I said it to, but, I would love to, for us as stroke survivors and people that are alive and thriving and there to be on call for families that all of a sudden their families suffer a stroke. Are you in
Yes.
there?
Oh,
You,
100%. I have been trying to get a hospital to allow
yeah.
me to go into the hospital to just counsel new stroke patients. And if we can all do that.
But
Yeah.
even if you can't
Yeah.
go, Jeff,
So,
nowadays,
talking.
I know, but nowadays, like, even if there's no protocol to be able to have you
Right.
go in, like FaceTime, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can at least immediately, like, just to cut off the worries a little bit, just for us to say to them, listen, we don't know what's going to happen, but we want to bring you some hope because look at us. I was unconscious for a whole week. You know what I'm saying? My brain just had to go through the process. My brain just had to, and it is going to be a new road, but at least he gets to go down that road. You know what I'm saying? And to be hope and to be like that's one of my desires. I was an ambassador for, I think I said in this program, for Ridgewood Valley Hospital, where I would go in and bring those hope. And I was actually a part of Sing for Hope in the city, where we'd go into rooms of people that were sick, and we'd sing to them and we'd bring them hope. And actually, one of the leaders there, when I said to them, I suffered a stroke, I like to initially touch base with those that suffered strokes. He allowed me the permission to go in and say I was in your place. I, like everybody else, would leave, and now look at me, and that just brought so much hope to them, and not only to them, but to their families that are really, really struggling with the challenge. They never thought they'd suffer a stroke. They never thought. Ralph, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, again, research. For example, one of the organizations I'm involved with, Stroke Awareness Oregon, has a peer-to-peer program.
Yes.
And there are peer-to-peer programs out there for mental health, for drug addiction, for all those kind of things. Research, look around and see. I think American Stroke Association even has some mention of peer-to-peer programs. And that is what we've done here in Oregon is we've gone in and our peer-to-peer leader took the volunteer orientation at the hospital, so now they call him for new stroke survivors to go in to talk to new stroke survivors as a peer-to-peer counselor. It's
Fantastic.
not it's, just talking about, like we're saying, talking about here's what you don't expect, here's what you do expect. I mean,
I
it's,
think, I think hearing something like that from someone who's gone through it, not a doctor who's going to have, all of this, up here, cerebral, whatever, high, whatever, but somebody down to earth who's just said, I just did this, let's talk,
yeah,
I think is so valuable. I think that's
And doctors can't bring hope to patients because they can't give the expectation that your patient, your family member is going to be okay. They can't, because if that member's not okay, they're liable.
yeah,
They're,
yeah.
so we are so important in that conversation
Mhm.
so that we could, because we're examples. We're not saying this could happen. No, this did happen. Look at me. This did happen. I was really bad. I couldn't walk and talk. I couldn't even think properly. But look at me. I'm in the mainstream of life. I sing. I played softball. I had a child after it. Like there's many things. Life does go on, but you have to, you know, just let it go through the process, and you have to be hopeful for it. You can't, people are not, things are not, hope is such an important aspect. That's why Mark McEwen, he's coming to our unconditional love concert, because he wants to bring hope. And I'll never forget when I met Mark, because I sent Mark an email and with my photo, so he knew what I looked like. And I vividly see him coming at me. So for me to see Mark McEwen, I don't know if everybody knows who Mark McEwen is, but Mark McEwen used to be a CBS broadcaster and weathercaster and entertainer in the world. I mean, he's been with presidents, and so to see a man like that coming at me, coming towards me to connect with me because we both experienced a stroke. I was like, oh my God. I was like, and he only did that because he loves to bring hope to people. When he has a whole audience and he knows somebody suffered a stroke, he'll say, excuse me, I'll be right back. He's going to give them a hug and bring them hope. So it's incredible. It's incredible what you're all doing, and we're in this together.
Bowflex. Bowflex, that's the
Well,
name of the
Oh,
exercise
Flex, thank
machine.
you.
a word I just said. He's like, he was trying. I saw him trying, like, what am I trying to think about,
I always say you have to
Bowflex.
stop chasing it. I would say, don't chase it, and it'll just pop right in.
Yep,
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah.
That was so weird. Sorry about that. Hey, Jeff, do you still go to therapies?
Not recently. I just came back from Florida and I'm about to go to Africa on a safari.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yes.
We're in Kenya? In Kenya?
South Africa.
South Africa. That's
Okay.
amazing.
And then I'll be coming back to doing physical therapy again. But I have all these videos I have to share with my physical therapist here, who is so great. She's so innovative. Um, and I have to show her my riding a adult tricycle and keep my foot on the pedals. I can go miles at this point. And the ping pong, I have a video of that. So I have to share that. But the physical therapist has been great, and going to gym regularly, not as often as I should, but
Don't say that.
yes,
We never are.
Yeah,
we never
guilty,
are.
guilty.
But Jeff, ask her, just see if she wants to be on the show so that she can talk about why she's so unique, and
Oh, I think she would love that.
ask her.
I'd
Love
love
that.
to interview her for Stroke Warrior Radio too.
Yeah, ask her.
Yes.
We love to welcome her,
She-
because
when I was saying I want to be able to row a boat, row to a canoe again, she said, "Okay, well, you can't do that now. Sit in a chair. I find a broomstick," and we were practicing with
Wow.
the broom.
Mhm.
Just like Barry was saying, you don't.
he said
Ralph was
300
saying,
Yeah.
there's
Oh, okay.
other ways to do things. What can you start off doing? And
But to find a physical therapist who will do that and not go through the formula and the checklist.
right,
I've had two rotator cuff surgeries. I still don't have full range of motion, but both times, and I went to 2 different places for therapy after the surgery, and it was a formula. You do this, 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 and this, and there's the basic exercises. Then you look them up and they're still doing the same, rowing and things and whatever. And to have someone who will listen, and if I said, well, I need to be able to lift my arm this way, which doesn't work. I can go up and I can go out, but I can't from the bottom up. What can I do? And they go, well, no, you're probably not going to be able to do that. To find someone who will say, no, wait a minute, I know how to fix it would be wonderful.
Wow, that's incredible.
Well, there's the difference too out there. Again, research. There's a difference between a physical therapist and a neurophysical therapist.
Mm-hmm.
A neurophysical therapist is more focused on stroke or TBI or those kind of things, or concussions even.
Yeah.
So, there's
trauma.
And I think one of the things that's been so great for me is that I went to individual therapy places. I didn't do my therapies later in the past few years anyway. I didn't do my therapies through hospitals. I did them through individual businesses.
Yeah.
And there's where the innovation is. Just like Jeff was saying, your gal is probably an individual business and not through a hospital or a medical center.
Well, we only have 2 more minutes, but I think a conversation that before I forget, I think a conversation that we need to bring up with all of us is, yes, we need ongoing physical therapy, but do our insurance cover it? And how do we continue doing it when our insurances don't cover it?
Yeah. That's a great discussion because there's numerous ways to be able to do it.
So Ginny, book that for us with us on it. Jeff, you could be part of that conversation. Ralph would love to, you're very innovative. So we'll have a conversation about that because, we need to know. I think one of the ways that we had someone on the show, and actually, Ginny, remind me to send you her information because she should be on this show as well. She's a professor at a college. And for those that are going to school for physical therapy, they run training classes for them. And as a patient, once you're complete, and you could go to them for like $25 per session.
Oh, it's like dental schools where you can go.
Or hairdressers,
Yeah,
but you're getting, and it's not like it's random because it's in a college setting and the professor will be there to guide them.
Right.
But at least they're getting what they need and they're actually helping a student to learn the different aspects.
Because you have to have on-the-job training. You can't just,
Yes. Right. So it was a great, and they actually have, it's actually, what's the word I'm looking for? It's set up like that. It's like the same thing as the dental or the hair. It's actually set up where they talk about it and they promote it and they market it so that people can utilize it. So I have to look for that. Does anybody, I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to give their last, inspiration to the world. And we'll be back next month after our Unconditional Love concert. I know I keep going back to that, but so Ralph, go first. You can give your last inspirational thought process.
I'm going to go back to what I said before. It's better to have failed to try, or it's better to have tried and failed than to have failed to try.
Yeah.
If I didn't continue doing stuff I wanted to do to be better, I wouldn't have gotten better.
Yeah. Ben, you have the inspiration, the motivation. What was your motivation behind that, Ralph, though? Mine would be my family and my kids, and I still had a lot of work to do.
Mine was my children, my grandchildren in particular, because I have 11 of them.
Yeah.
And now I'm a great grandfather, by the way. I didn't tell you. Anyway, it was me just deciding after some very dark moments that I was not done yet. I have a legacy to leave, And, even though the stroke's become the most difficult thing in my life, it's also become the most rewarding.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Me too. That's why this show is called Stroke of Luck.
That's why we do what we do.
That's why we do what we do. Jenny?
All right, I'm going to just give you something to laugh at. You said before about the optimist sees the glass half full and the pessimist sees the glass half empty. An engineer will say the glass is twice as big as it should be. Jeff, I just listening to you and for you to say, don't let them tell you there's a plateau, I think is something that the whole show was worth it for me to hear that I can pass that on. Because that's just, it's a few short words, but it's remarkable. So I thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff?
First, I'd like to know if I can give out my email address because
Absolutely, positively.
my personal email address, Jeff at BTIS, boy, Tom, isosceles, symmetric.com, and the website www.enablingstrokesurvivors.com .org. And I would love to have people write with suggestions for the website and for things that help them. But my takeaway is just as Ralph said, if you haven't tried, then you can't succeed. And if you in business, same thing. If you don't fail enough times, you haven't tried enough times. So that's it.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much. It's been an exceptional show because, to have my guests that are only stroke survivors, to really share their experiences. I love all my guests and stuff, but I think it's you can't understand suffering a stroke or experience a stroke unless you've experienced it. You can't understand anything unless you've been the experience, to have the possibility or the challenges or whatever to experience it. And today it was really a good show, and what a great source of information everybody had, providing options, and ways to better recovery and bringing hope to everybody. I mean, it really is a great show. This show is going to really make a difference in people's lives. And I'm so grateful. And I can't wait to welcome you back to talk about the insurance. And Jeff, when you get your website up and running, just email the group back so that we know we can book a show and showcase that, and we could, and send us photos of everything, and we'll talk about it. And also don't forget to ask your therapist if she would like to be on the show. We'd love
I'm sure she would. Should love
mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to just, maybe talk to her and then send us her email if she's interested. You could just respond to the group and we can do it. So thank you so much, everybody. It's so funny because sometimes I forget that we're live around the world when we're talking, right? Because we're talking amongst each other and we forget that we're streaming on Facebook. The world could see us. Then we're going to go on Ralph's Stroke Warrior Radio. I mean, it's incredible what is out there and the way that we're touching lives around the world, Ralph, when they do the show, does their weight, I don't know this to be true, but can they translate it into another language, or does it?
Yeah, the app's going to be able to do that, and some people that listen in other countries have automatic translators on their
automatic
computer.
Translators. That's awesome.
Yeah, and we're listening to, you posted that we're in 28 countries. We're in 46 countries now.
I know. Listen, I got to tell everybody, because of the unconditional love concert where my main focus is, I was so late on rocking and rolling with this show. Like I usually do the press like a week ago. I didn't do it till yesterday. And I didn't, and I really just gathered information and really did the best I can. I said to Ginny, I got it done. Like, nothing held me back from getting it done. but it was really, really challenging. But I thought it was important to continue to have a show, even though we were doing the unconditional love concert, because this is our main base. This is who we are. This is
Yeah.
a conversation that we love to have, and I think it's really important. So I'll update that, Ralph, in our press, because
Okay.
46 countries is incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And actually, I think on when it shows on Facebook, I used to see the words writing, so that probably translates and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. But
Yeah, it does.
thank you to everybody. I can't believe it. We've been on for an hour and over an hour and 7 minutes. So we're gonna cut out. I'm going to sleep, just so everybody knows. In 5 minutes, I'll be sleeping.
Me too.
Thank you to Jeff. Thank you to Ginny, of course, for everything you're doing. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you for really partnering with us. We're incredibly.
Thank you, Rene.
We're going to blow kisses on 3, and goodbye, everybody. We'll see you. Good night, I should say. Here we go on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bye, everybody. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Yo no sé qué tú piensas, yo no sé lo que haré, yo no sé lo que estoy perdiendo, yo no sé lo que va a pasar. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti, no me puedes oír llorar. Día que caminaste por la puerta, todas las memorias fueron. Mi corazón está vacío, como si tuviera ayer. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. Mi corazón está sufriendo. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. No me puedes oír llorar. Usted está en mi sueño por la noche. Por favor, no peleemos. Es tan difícil para mí y para ti. Yo, ¿qué puedo hacer? No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. Mi corazón está sufriendo. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. No me puedes oír llorar. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. Mi corazón está sufriendo. No me puedes escuchar llorar solo sin ti. No me puedes oír, no me puedes escuchar. No me puedes escuchar llorar, llorar. No me puedes escuchar.